Look, we back at it again, and this is what I got for y'all today. Today it's gonna be Gen Z's energy drink crisis. Honestly, this is something I can heavily relate to. Let's get right into it. You dig?
Coffee has been around for nearly 500 to 600 years, and you could argue it's probably one of the most successful drugs ever released to society. People's whole civilizations built off these damn beans. Of course, when coffee wasn't hitting hard enough, they had to make a teeny tiny subtle switch to cocaine to boost production. Hey, we can say what we want about it, but you can't tell me they wasn't handling with swiftness from the 70s to 80s, which was at the time in the US when things were at their most affordable. But sadly that became illegal, so eventually they found a brand new, totally not harmful at all product to replace it: energy drinks. And slowly over time, especially since the 2000s, they become more and more popular every year, with Gen Z.
Y'all drink energy drinks? If you do, which energy drinks you drink? I do, I'm not gonna lie. I don't drink them often, or at least I try not to, because they're not good for you in any shape, way, or form. I mean, coffee's better for you at that point. But it's like, man, sometimes you need it, especially with me. I be working night shifts overnight, and you know, shout out to my people working graveyard. You know how that be. It's like, it feels like you can never get any sleep, because it's like your circadian rhythm is all messed up and everything. And then it's like, when you work the night shift, you're pretty much picking up all of the slack and leftover work that was not completed from the morning and day shift. And then you also have to stay on top of your shift and make sure it's set up for the morning shift coming in. And they don't ever do the same for you. But for me, I'd say I used to drink Monsters. I used to get those big old, man, like liters. It was bad, real bad. 'Cause especially when I was doing like manual labor jobs. But I switched over to like Red Bull for a long time, and then started drinking more recently like Ghost. I had one today, I'm not even gonna lie, or last night going into this morning because I had work. Well, yeah, I mean, it's at the point though, it's like I'm starting to get used to where it's like I gotta drink two to really, like, you know, but I don't want to do that. So that's why I'm just trying to focus on just having a proper sleep schedule, because if I can at least have a consistent one, that should give me consistent energy.
Now leading the chart is the group who consumes the most energy drinks, and I'm not gonna lie,
it's not even close. We're kind of close.
according to studies nowadays, 75 to 80% say they drink them regularly, and older generations drink them the least.
Yeah,
but
man,
to be fair, that
we being
doesn't mean
overworked.
older generations don't have caffeine. They just have coffee a lot more than energy drinks. I can give boomers credit on that though. They can manage their caffeine a lot better than us. You know, other than destroying the world's economies, causing wars for no reason, being selfish and on younger generations for a world they created, and saying just buy a house like I did for 2 pennies and a handshake, seems like they've gotten caffeine addiction pretty beaten. And as someone who started having energy drinks and pre-workout around 4 years ago when I turned 19, not gonna lie, it was mainly because I started going to the gym and wanted to get the best gains. Caffeine addiction is probably top 5 addictions this generation has right now. And especially when I started having—
Okay, let's list them out. What would be the top 5 addictions? Yeah, it'd be caffeine, nicotine. I say weed. That's up there now. And then let's think about something like outside the box, like some intangibles, like something, you know, like productivity, or maybe like validation or attention. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Yeah. Well, off the top, in terms of tangibles, that's what I would think. Caffeine, weed, and nicotine. Yep, that's all I can think about. What about y'all? Can y'all get 5? Let me know in the comments.
and get more, I can understand why it's hard for some people to stop. Because just like all other stimulants, you end up getting a tolerance to it and needing more. For some people, it's bad. It can get to the point where if you have it too much, days you don't have it will give you headaches. And some people even throw up because their body needs it, which is why you should always keep it balanced and have some break days a week where you don't have caffeine, like at least 2 days in the week. But even then, with people having it, one thing I didn't realize, because I did research before I started having it, is how many people don't know the limits and drink over it a day. The FDA and most of the World Health Organizations say you should have a max of 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is already a lot. For reference, that's having 4 cups of coffee a day, 10 cans of soda, or 2 cans of 200 milligram energy drinks. For real, the only reason you should even be having that much is if you go to the gym and lift a lot or work like 14-hour days. But even with this being clear public information, people will casually brag online that they have double that amount or even more. Like, you just admitting to overdosing on social media in 2026 because that's what you're doing.
How much caffeine do you drink per day? 1,000 milligrams, which is 1 gram, which is 10% of lethal dose. What's your 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day like schedule? I started the day out with 4 shots of espresso. I mixed that with 2 protein shakes. That's about 256 grams of caffeine. Later in the day, I have a pre-workout before I hit the gym. This one is like 300 milligrams of caffeine. So now we're at like 650. And then I'll probably either have another one of these later in the day for my second workout or 4 more shots of espresso. Around 1,000. Do you have a problem sleeping? No, I sleep great. I track it with my Oura ring.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, bro, how do you sleep? That's why I try not to drink energy drinks because, bro, when I drink energy drinks, I already have a lot of energy, especially when I'm sober. When I drink energy drinks, it's like when I get off of work or I think I'm about to go to sleep, I just have energy. And it's like, it's always the case, And I can never get a consistent sleep schedule when I consistently drink energy drinks. That's crazy to me. Drinking that much caffeine and you're still able to get quality sleep. Maybe it's because he works out so much and he's just active so much and he's probably handling things mentally, a lot of responsibilities, so it balances itself out. But it's hard to imagine, like,
Jesus! I can drink a pre-workout and go to bed if I wanted to. What is the most amount of caffeine, milligrams of caffeine you've had in one day? And how did it make you feel? For me, my all-time high, career high, is 750 milligrams in one day. That's a lot. And I remember, so I had 2 Reigns, so that's 600 right there. And then I had, I think, like 2 or 3 Diet Cokes. So that got me up to like 750. And
the comment section of this video is worse too. Somebody said 3,200, which is 8 times the max limit. 1,750 milligrams, which is 4 times the max limit. Funniest thing about this is having all this caffeine is actually gonna make it work worse for you. You're just bringing up your tolerance to the point of having one energy drink is gonna give you 0 effect on your body. So if you think you're caffeine addicted for almost having the limit every day, there's levels to this shit. You at level 2. Obviously, the main problem with having that much is you risk having a heart attack at any moment. Your heart can only handle so much stimulation before it pops. There was a sad case recently of someone in Gen Z passing away from having too much caffeine. The 17-year-old girl named Larissa Rodriguez was having energy drinks a lot from a specific brand called Alani. Now, at her age, even though it's not recommended to have energy drinks under 18, as a teenager, the max you're supposed to have if you do is 100 milligrams a day. And the Alani has 200 milligrams. So we're already starting off bad. On October 20th, 2025, she sadly passed away from a heart attack after having them. Although it's not exactly confirmed how many she was having a day, people are speculating it was way more than the limit because you don't pass away at that age without really putting pressure on your body. You saw that TikTok comment section. There was admitting to having absurd amounts and
Jesus! What y'all think? How much? Okay, so 100 milligrams is the recommended, max. These people as adults are doing like 8 times the max and they're just fine. So as a teenager, you're still developing. Oh, dang. She would have had to have at least, what, like 10 cans in one day? Who was allowing her to drink that? Who was what?
Even they didn't pass away. The biggest thing going around was that she was having 6 of them a day, which would be 1,200 milligrams a day. 3 times the daily limit, by the way, for an adult. And if that's really true, it's so crazy how people don't check the limits of shit anymore. The fact that no one in her life told her she has to stop having that much because it's gonna make her die faster is crazy. If I had 1,200 milligrams of caffeine a day, I'd probably be able to run around the whole world 3 times and still be good. For her body, she definitely got used to it, which is the problem. And now her family's trying to sue the company, saying they didn't have enough warnings about excess caffeine use, even though it says it right on the can. Or you could search up the health facts online and instantly know the limits. Rest in
Yeah, like don't try to sue the company because of your negligence. If I have a child, right, and I see that they're drinking caffeine or they're just doing things excessively, I'm more than likely gonna look into it just to make sure they're not harming themselves unintentionally. Because I guarantee you, she wasn't trying to overdose. She wasn't trying to harm herself. She just felt like she needed the energy. She probably liked the taste as well. She liked the effects, and just her lifestyle probably demanded it at the time. But it's not the world's responsibility to ensure that your child is safe. It's your job to do that. And the fact that you were negligent in looking up those facts of caffeine, like, come on now.
peace to her, obviously, tragic death, but this lawsuit is not gonna go anywhere. This would be the equivalent of someone who died from alcohol poisoning suing the beer company for giving them that much alcohol. Also, what the f were the parents doing? They should have especially asked her about her energy drink habits since she was having so much. My mom to this day still gets on my ass for having any type of caffeine, and I'm not gonna lie, she's right. Low-key, in general, no one should be having caffeine preferably. The tolerance comes up no matter what, even if you drink coffee. But if you are gonna be drinking it like most people in the world do, you should at least be hitting the limit max and not going higher than it. It also doesn't help that energy drinks have turned into a hobby for people. Like, why does everything have to be a hobby, man? TikTok has ruined doing any type of thing. You have people show off their collections of energy drinks like they're a car collector. They can point out every single chemical compound in each drink like a Walter White.
Oh no. Oh no.
This is an expensive hobby. I don't know how they're getting all these different types of cans.
Facts.
Okay, well, not expensive like being a car collector, but a 12-pack energy drink is usually like 30 bucks, so it adds up. The closer you are to them, the more you're gonna want to drink it. So it's probably not the best idea if you already take a lot of caffeine now to stack up on it. Energy drinks gonna be calling your name midday like the Green Goblin mask. Now, in defense of all this caffeine consumption, because one may wonder why Gen Z has so much, it's a couple of reasons. One being currently in college, and since you're studying a lot more, you need more energy, hence the energy drinks. Every generation has had their things for colleges. Back then, it was taking out your stress on a cigarette pack, or taking coke to make the 7 a.m. test. Also going to the gym a lot more, which, like I said, is the reason I even have it on my days off I don't. If you're coming from working a long day and want to hit the gym after, most people need a little something to pick themselves up. Another thing some people might be surprised by is partying. There's been an uprise in bars serving drinks with energy drinks intertwined, or just drinks having it themselves. Some people completely replace having alcohol with just an energy drink and go to a concert. The alcohol industry might be dead by the time we're old. They're practically begging for the youth to drink. But we have morals, alright? We draw the line at getting blackout drunk. We'd rather be getting heart attacks by 30 or getting severely addicted to gambling that we lose our life savings. It could also be that statistically Gen Z right now is the most stressed generation. Whether you believe that or not, every time a generation is feeling stressed, there's always something to help with that cope. One of the other reasons for the uptick is it seems like everyone has an energy drink now. I can't even count on my hands how many celebs have come out with their own custom energy drinks. The Rock has one, Kim Kardashian has one, Logan Paul and KSI, which we all remember. Kids were getting cracked out thinking a prime energy drink was just like their apple juice, only to all of a sudden be able to bench 500 pounds 5 times in a row. Parents don't truly check on their kids anymore, because how is your kid casually having caffeine at 8 years old and 10 years old and you don't even know? Even Barry.
I mean, we're getting to the point in society where we just have kids raising kids. But obviously, that's an entirely different conversation from the topic of this video.
Donald Trump's son announced he's releasing one in May of this year. What the f does this know about energy drinks? I don't think I've even heard him talk. The only thing I want to see him do is be in them war fields for the his father started. The main problem with it is it's not like food or something that doesn't affect your body too much. It's a stimulant that if you have too much, you can die from. I assume even people who don't drink caffeine, who are fans of these celebs, are gonna try their energy drinks and potentially get hooked on having them, or may not know they can only have a certain amount before they get Fortnite eliminated. You should also only be having the energy drink in the morning or 3 p.m. max. Any later, and good luck getting any type of sleep. There's a ton of people who have permanent sleep problems every night because the amount of caffeine they consume. Caffeine has a half-life of 3 to 7 hours, meaning it takes that much time to get down to half the amount in your system. And if you have like 200 milligrams at 5 p.m., you're still gonna have a cup of coffee and a half in your system by 10, extending the time it takes for you to sleep. You most likely won't be able to sleep until like 1 or 2 a.m., which for anyone in school or that has a job, that's probably gonna make life worse for you. Or you're gonna have the worst stage of it, having to take copious amounts of caffeine in the daytime, while at night downing a bottle of melatonin to fight it. It creates an endless cycle of you doing that until one day you either take a break, or I guess wait until you're at 900 milligrams of caffeine every day and have a heart attack in the middle of the night. To wrap it up, the main lesson of today's video, I guess, is to always remember the limits of caffeine. More and more are there cases of people either having heart attacks or destroying their bodies over having too much, which is why we should put cocaine back in Coke bottles. Follow me on
That's facts right there. I don't know. Personally, I don't see nothing wrong with it. But yeah, it is preferable that you don't do it. But I do see that, yeah, it is an issue. People are just not educating themselves on anything. It goes beyond just energy drinks. People just don't take the time to read anything anymore. And companies take advantage of that. All they do is just put on some pretty colors, add an attractive name, make a taste that's enjoyable, and then bam, they got you because they know you're not going to read it. That's why it's like it's taking so long for chips and like, you know, regular snacks and juices to get rid of like red dye and yellow dye, you know, and just like all of this artificial stuff. And they're starting to make a change because people are actually starting to read it, see the effects of it, etc. But personally, I'm still gonna be drinking energy drinks because your boy work graveyard, so I definitely need that to stay up, especially the job and type of stress I gotta deal with. You know what I'm saying? But what about y'all? Do y'all drink energy drinks? Maybe tea? That's my preferred caffeine is tea. Or maybe it's coffee. I can never get into coffee. I can only really do iced coffee, and even then, it's too bitter and it's just not enjoyable. But y'all let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If not, I'm coming for you. But you already know, I'm not Kenny, but don't worry, I'm just like you. Y'all take it easy, all right?